Hello there, everyone. Welcome to my Facebook Live. My name is Daryl Walter. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and owner of Pickled Peppers Creative Cafe at pickledpepperscreative.com. So, welcome to my live. Welcome. So, Thursday is a day that I set aside to come to you and make a couple of crafty projects. And here I am today. I have a couple of really simple, cute cards to make with you. They are super fast, super cute, and they focus on the designer series paper. So I'm pretty excited to be sharing with you today. I see my friend Beth is watching. Hello there, Beth. Welcome. Happy snowy, freezing Thursday in Michigan. I see my friend Marie is watching. Hi, Marie. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'm going to take just a half second here to hook up my other device. Now that I'm connected, I had a little bit of a problem getting on for a second. I was being a little fussy, so I disconnected everything to make sure that that wasn't the issue. And I'm able to get on, so I'm going to go ahead and connect my other device. I like to have another device so that I can see your comments when we're creating, and I can also see my hand so that I am kind of relatively sure that I'm in frame with you, right? I like to see what I'm showing you so that you can see what I'm showing you. Makes sense, right? All right, so let's go ahead. We'll get connected here. How are you guys? How was your week? You guys have a good week? Did you survive? If you're in the Midwest, did you survive the snow? I heard on the news tonight that we got 13.5 inches of snow, 13 and a half inches of snow, like the sixth most total snowfall that we've had in this area. So that's quite a bit. I remember when I was younger walking to school and the snow drifts seeming to be, I don't know, maybe I'm exaggerating a bit, but the snow drifts seemed to be as tall as I was. So I remember when I was little, we got quite a bit of snow. And so that's the first thing that I thought of when we got all of the snow. Okay, so we're just chatting a bit. Let's see, do I have magazines or catalogs? I don't have catalogs with me. I was just going to mention that this is February. Today is February 3rd, and this is the final month of Celebration. If you've not heard of Celebration, Celebration is a promotion that Stampin' Up! Puts on. We are doing it twice per year now, so this is the first celebration of the year, and you get free products for shopping during Celebration in $50 increments. So for every $50 you spend, you get to select something from the Celebration catalog. I see my friend Susan is watching. Hi, Susan. Happy very snowy Thursday. Thank you so much for being here. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, the cards that I have are super simple tonight. We're focusing on designer series paper, so I'm going to give you a couple of quick and simple ways that you can make cards really quickly and have them look very, very cute as well. And today, they're not so flowery or feminine focused, so I'm pretty excited about that. So why don't we go ahead and get turned down and we'll get started creating. How about that? Okay, here we go. One moment. Oh, I just seen Julie pop on. My friend Julie is watching. Hi, Julie. Thank you for being here. Happy Crafty Thursday. Here we go. I'll lift that up just a little bit so we don't get the glare of my ring light with my fancy new worktop that I haven't actually figured out yet. I did figure out last week, if you were able to join me last week, I figured out that this nice glass top doesn't play so nicely with my grid paper from Stampin' Up. So today I'm not using it. We're just going to go with the glass top. We'll see where it leads us, right? All right, so let's show card number 1. First off, let me show you the Designer Series paper pack that we're using. I'm absolutely enamored with it. It is called the New Horizons 6x6 Designer Series paper. And it is all, look at this. It is all horizons. It is so beautiful. Look at this Designer Series paper. So the paper does it all. The paper does all of the work. So there's not a lot of stamping that is necessary. You could do stamping if you wanted, and you could use die cuts. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I'm not sure if you're seeing on camera the nice vivid colors, but it's so very beautiful. And then, of course, the reverse side. Let's get this out of the way. So here's the reverse. So this is what we're focusing on today. Just very nice. I don't know. I call it smushy. This is what I call like paint smushy on the opposite side. So really, really nice. So let's get started with card number 1. I'm going to show you how you can make a couple of simple cards using this Designer Series paper. You'll make a lot of wow. Here is card number 1. Isn't this lovely? So I'm going to show you, this is kind of like if you've ever heard of triple or double time stamping. Thank you, Susan. This is like double time stamping. So we'll do this card first. Look at how simple. This is all stamps, inks, and paper. One of my favorite ways to stamp. So let's get started. For the card base, I have a piece of Night of Navy, and I have cut it at 4 1/4 by 11. So it's a full sheet of cardstock, and I cut it in half the long way. And then I'm going to be using this piece of Designer Series paper. And then I have a mat for the inside of the card. And I've gone ahead off camera and I used my layering circle dies. And I cut the largest circle already, so I didn't have to do that. But we are going to cut with the smaller. So I think these are the 2 largest die cuts in the layering circles, and I am going to make 1 cut here. That's going to be right in the Designer Series paper. Let's start by bringing in my Stampin' Trimmer. And we'll put these aside for a moment. Push all of our pieces to the side. And I'm going to start by deciding where my center point is going to be using this Designer Series paper. I hope that makes sense to you. So if you look at the original card, I wanted some of the darker background. I wanted some of that, but not as much as is focused here. And I need to cut that Designer Series paper mat to 4 by 5 1/4, right? So I'm first going to focus on the horizon. So we're going to go horizontally, and I'll decide there. And then afterwards, I'll decide how much sky I want and how much of the water or the sea that I want, okay? So for the horizon, again, I want some of the darker, but I don't want all of the darker. So I'm going to kind of decide, and keeping in mind that this is going to be the 4-inch side, okay? I'm going to actually cut it at 4 1/2, and then I'll take the other 1/2 inch maybe off of this side. Actually, Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So I'll cut it here at 4.5 inches. And we'll do away with this piece. We don't need that. And then I'm going to flip it all the way around and cut it at 4, which is my final width, right? So let's do that. Okay, so now that we have that, it's a 6x6 piece of designer series paper. So now it's 6x4, and I need it to be 5.25 inch. So now I have to determine how much of the water and how much of the sky with the sun. So you see the sun here. I love designer series paper like this. It makes stamping and card making so easy because there's not a lot of work for you to do. The paper does the work, right? So I want to be careful to keep a significant amount of the sun there. So I'm going to cut it at 5.5, and then I'll cut the rest off of the water, much in the same way that we did the horizon. And we'll just flip it all the way around. I need it to be 5.25, so I'm going to put this edge at 5.25, and I'll cut the remainder from the water. There we go. Okay, you see how I did that? Now I have a 5.25 by 4 mat, and this is the size mat that fits right on your card front. Okay, so here is the other part that makes this interesting, and this is where we can do the double time stamping, except we're doing it on designer series paper, so we don't have to do any stamping. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and grab my die cutting machine. Actually, I don't think I'm going to put it on the glass top. I'll just grab my very worn mat. And remember, I had 2 of the layering circle dies, so I'm going to use the second largest, and the largest I've already gone ahead and cut the Night of Navy. And so this layer we're going to cut right out of the center of the designer series paper. It's okay with me to kind of eyeball it. I don't have to measure it. I just kind of at a visual glance want at least an even portion at the top and bottom. And then this is going to become our focal point, right? So let me go ahead and cut that. Oh, Susan, great. You finally bought yourself a paper trimmer. I am so happy that you did that, because that paper trimmer is wonderful. All right, I'm going to run this through my die cutter. I think. I'm afraid to put it on the glass top. I don't want to damage the glass top, and it's kind of a heavy machine. So, all right. And here's what we have now. So you see how I've cut the center right out of it? And here's our focal point. So this is where we're going to do our stamping. And for the time being, we'll go ahead and set this aside. We're going to do some stamping here too. Well, why don't we go ahead and do it all at the same time? The stamp set I've chosen, because the designer series paper looks like water, I am using the Sailing Home stamp set. There's a lighthouse and anchor, 2 different sailboats, a compass, some rope. So I like both of the boats here, and I'm going to use the smaller boat. And really, all we're going to do is stamp with black memento. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's grab a black here. Boy, this glass top is pretty noisy, isn't it? It's pretty noisy. My stamp has black ink on it, so I hope I don't get ink where I don't want it. All right, let's go ahead and ink up. Switch these 2 pieces around. Okay, so I'm gonna stamp my sailboat to the right here. You could put it on either side. but I want mine on the right. And then you notice how there's water here and then there's the horizon. I'm going to put the boat right on top of the water, well to the right of the circle. Be careful not to press too hard. Very good. Let's put the boat away. We're done with that. And in this stamp set also are some seagulls. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the seagulls and I'm going to stamp them first here next to the boat with the black memento. And now I'm going to stamp them again here, anywhere in the top right corner of the larger mat. But I want to be careful to make them make sense in the direction that they're flying. Okay, that's good. All right, and then we have one more thing to stamp, and that's going to be the sentiment. And there's a sentiment here that says, "You are my true north," and I just like that. Isn't this a nice, this would be a nice Valentine's Day card for my husband, and actually, I think I might do that. I think I might use this as a Valentine's Day card for him. You are my true north. I just think that's such a nice sentiment. So I'm going to use that, and I'm just going to stamp it right here on the bottom right. There we go. And that's it. That's it for the stamping, right? I'll put this die cut aside so I don't lose it. Make a little room here. Cover my ink. I have already got inky fingers, so I don't want them too inky. Now let's go ahead and assemble. The assembly is really, really simple. I'm going to bring in the larger circle die cut, and we're going to layer it like this. And add some double-sided adhesive to the back. So this is a flat layer. Oh, let's try it on the paper. There we go. And I'm going to center it right in the circle here. There we go. And then next we need to fold and burnish our card base. Remember, we need sharp creases. We want the card to lay flat. So let's give it a good crease. All right. And then we'll add adhesive here, and we'll add this layer to the front of the card. I'm gonna go all the way around on this one. I don't know why. I just feel more secure. And then let's make sure the opening is in the right direction, and I want to make sure that I have even borders all the way around. Even, eyeball even. I'm an eyeballer, so there, eyeball even. And we have this. And then the last thing we need to do is add our focal piece. And I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals to do that. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to use 3. Just lift them right off here. I like this, "You are my true north." And with the snowy weather that we have here in the Midwest in Michigan, the sailboat gives me a little bit of escapism. Okay, I'm going to turn this towards me. So I want to make sure that the horizon is along the same lines as the card front. So I kind of want to make it even. I'll drop it right into place like that. Press down our Stampin' Dimensionals, And there we have it. Oh, thank you. Susan says looks great. Thank you, Susan. Isn't this simple? I promised you that it would be simple and quick. All right, let's go ahead with the inside. Let's not leave the inside naked. Let's give it a little bit of something that makes sense. We could, I don't want to give it the seagulls. We have enough seagulls there. Probably just the boat. Maybe we'll give it the little boat. How about we give it the anchor? Let's give it the anchor. Think the anchor will look good in black? Let's just do it. Let's do it. So if you are stamping your card, you might want to add the sentiment at this point as well. I like to leave the inside of my card blank, so it gives me a little flexibility when using it, and I can add the sentiment later if I needed to fit a different purpose. But if you already have an idea of what you would like, then you would go ahead and stamp it at this point. I like that anchor. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool anchor. I like the detail on it. All right, let's go ahead and add some adhesive, and we'll add this right to the inside of our card, and card number 1 is done. Whoops. Eyeball even on the borders there. There we go. No, that's not good. Too far to the top. Let's do it again. I can see where I've gotten just a little bit of ink. Okay, that looks good. There we go. And then if you have your envelope, you could even stamp a little bow on your envelope as well. But here is card number 1. Thank you, Marie. Marie says beautiful card. Thank you so much. Susan says nice. Thank you, Susan. Okay, card number 2 is just a bit different, but the concept is the same. So here is card number 2. Can you see that? I actually used polished pink. So let me show you how we did card number 2. Thank you for the hearts and the likes. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it. That makes me feel super, super good. It encourages me to keep sharing with you. It lets me know that you like being here with me, and I like being here with you. So thank you so much. Okay, so we have the same orientation for card number 2. This time we're using Misty Moonlight for the card base. And I've cut it at 4 1/4 and scored it in the center at 5 1/2. So let's go ahead and fold and burnish. Give it a nice burnish here. And then typically when you're using this orientation, your card will open. So this will be the bottom and it opens like this. But we're actually going to have it open kind of like a book. And the reason I'm doing that is I want as much of this in the picture that I can get. So as much of the scenery as I can get. We're going to use the same method though for determining which portion of the designer series paper that we want to focus on. I really like this. It looks like maybe there are houses in the distance, so, or at least a house, maybe 2. I'm not sure. What do you think? I think, and so I like this piece. So let's go ahead and bring in our Stampin' Trimmer. We'll put our card base aside. Whoa. Okay, and then this time we will decide how much sky and how much water we want first. and then we'll decide on the horizon. So let's go ahead and do that. So the dimensions for this piece of designer series paper is going to be 4 3/4 by 3 1/4. And we need 3 1/4 inch from top to bottom. So I'm going to kind of, let's see, I'll cut it at, I want to keep some of that white in there, and I want the, not so much water, I think. So let's go ahead and cut it at 4 1/2. And then again, I'm going to flip it just like we did with the other card. And I need it to be 3 3/4 of an inch. So let's see, I want to make sure that I don't cut off too much of the water. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so this is what we have. So again, this is our horizon, and now I need it to be 4 3/4 of an inch across. So I'm going to focus on what I want to keep versus what I want to throw away, and, or, you know, that we're not going to use, I should say. I'll start with, this leaves me a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to cut it off at 5 inches. And then I'll flip it around and take a 1/4 inch off, because remember, we need it to be 4 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so now let's turn it around. We're going to cut 2 strips from the right side of the designer series paper, each at 1 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to turn around and cut 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to do it again, 1/4 of an inch. So did you get that? Now we have 3 pieces. You see that? And I want to be careful to keep all 3 pieces in the right order. It's going to matter when we put it on our card front. So I'll just kind of slide off. Let's get rid of our extra here. And I think we're done with the paper trimmer. I've already gone ahead and cut a piece of the polished pink, and the inside I have here. And then here's our card base. And then for the sentiment, I have a piece of basic white that is 3/4 of an inch by about 3 1/2 or so. Our sentiment is going to go here. Let's go ahead and put that aside. We'll focus on the stamping that we need to do on the designer series paper. So all of our 3 extra layers, we have one for the inside, which is 5 1/4 by 4. And then we have the same size mat that is for the front of the card. It's also 5 1/4 by 4, but we're going to set these aside just for a second. And we only need to, let's turn this around. I need it facing me as we're stamping. We're only going to need to stamp the lighthouse on the larger piece here, and then the sentiment. Oh, I better grab the mat for the sentiment back. We need that as well. All right, so let's go ahead and ink up the lighthouse. It's kind of a tall piece here. So let's give that a healthy inking. And it's going to go on the larger piece here. And once again, I'm kind of paying attention to the water versus where maybe the land would be. And then I'm just going to stamp it right down. That simple. There we go. I might not have gotten enough ink on that, but it works. And then while we're stamping, I'm going to use a different sentiment. You can use any sentiment that you want, but I'm going to use a sentiment from a different stamp set. It's actually Back on Your Feet. I want that Hope Things Get Better Soon. Lighthouses represent hope and peace. And so I want to say that. Hope you feel better soon. I actually have a use for it, that sentiment. So let's go ahead and stamp that right onto our piece of basic white. There we go. And we'll set this aside. Okay, now we can start building. I'm going to bring in my polished pink matte, and we're going to adhere our 3 pieces of designer series paper. I'm going to start with the piece that has the stamping on it, the larger piece. And the reason that I'm doing that is so we can get good balance between all 3 pieces that we're putting on the mat. So I'm going to give 3 even margins, eyeball even. There we go. And then I'm going to leave the center portion for last. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere the right panel. So let's go ahead and add adhesive there. There we go. And the same thing, I'm going to leave an even margin as much as I can. And then that leaves me the center space to, I can kind of eyeball where I need this to be, right? I don't have to worry about measuring. So that's what we'll do. Let's go ahead and add adhesive here. Oh, come on. There we go. We'll add our last portion with that little house there. I think it's a house. It may not be a house, but in my mind, that's what it is. Kind of make sure that I get this even. I don't want to be too fussy, but I want to be a little fussy because the panels kind of make the focal point. It's a little bit uneven, but that's okay. I'm okay with it. Next, I am going to take the pick a banner punch. There are 2 different punch ends or banner ends that you can use in 3 different sizes. I think it's 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and 1 inch. So you can make the banner whatever size you need it to be. I want I think this is called a flagged end or flagged banner. I'm not so sure, but that's what I think it is. So, and I'm going to turn the punch upside down so I can see where I'm punching. I want to, let's see. Oh no, that's not the edge that I wanted. Look what I did. It's okay though, because I can put it back in and punch it again. That's what I was after. And then we'll do it on the other side. I may need to punch that twice. Yeah, I do. Since I punched the other side twice to kind of make it even. And we're just going to add the sentiment here. I'm going to use Stampin' Dimensionals again for that. So let's dig in my busy box and find them. I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool so I can pick up the Stampin' Dimensionals. Just place them where I need them to be, and then I'm going to use the pick to remove the backing. There we go. And add the sentiment. There we go. Okay, here we are with our card base, and remember that it opens like a book. So it's the long orientation, but we're opening it like a book from left to right. So let's go ahead and add our stamped fancy mat. Oh, Julie says I've got to get that paper for quick cards, and I'm now in love with that stamp set. Yes, I do. And the True North, I don't know. Yes, Julie, I love the stately sayings, and I love that it's simple stamping, and I love that they can be masculine or, you know, or feminine. For me, it doesn't matter. I like all cards. I don't really care, but you know, it can have the orientation that you want as well. And this is what the front looks like. So yes, Julie, I agree. Okay, simple stamping there for the front, and we're going to do the same for the inside. Except, let's see, hope things get better soon. Let's see what the sentiments. Things. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's leave the sentiment off. And the lighthouse. Let's use the compass. I'll use the compass. We'll put that compass on the inside. And then we'll add our inner mat, and we are done with card number 2. So let's do that. Ink it up here with our black memento. If you don't have black memento, you need black memento. Black memento is a fantastic ink. It's a fantastic color of black. It is like true black. So I use it quite a bit. You won't be sorry. Okay, so there's our anchor. Oh yes, Julie, and you can use this stamp set when you scrapbook. Absolutely you can. Absolutely you can. I just think that nautical things fit so many situations. And like I said, you can pair it with any sentiment that you want. You see how I actually nabbed a sentiment from a different stamp set to use. Susan says beautiful. Thank you so much, Susan. Here we go. And then, like I said, the designer series paper speaks for itself. So I'm not going to do any other embellishing. You could, because of the stamp set that I chose, you could use maybe twine around the end of your banner or something like that. But I like the stamps, the ink and the paper in this situation to speak for itself. So I don't think it needs anything more. So thank you, Susan. Susan says love it. Thank you so much. So here is card number 2. Graduation, Julie says, vacation on a lighthouse tour here in Michigan, the Coast Guard Festival. You are so right. Someone just told me about visiting the different lighthouses in Michigan. We have some beautiful ones. I've been to many of them, and I love it. I love it, and I love that lighthouse. And then here is card number 1. So yes, Julie, you are so right. Thank you for that. So many uses. I love the You Are My True North, though. So this is my favorite. So 2 quick and simple cards, and you don't have to use, so this is a horizon with water. You could use animals, you could use sea animals. You wouldn't actually have to use nautical things if you didn't want to, but I happen to like them, so that's what I chose. All right, so that's what I have for you tonight. Let's go ahead and turn the camera up so we can say good night. Hello there. Let's get you locked into place. Okay. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight. Thank you for letting me share with you. As always, I don't take you for granted. I appreciate that you spend your Thursdays and sometimes Friday evenings with me, allowing me into your home and your life and your space to create with you. I hope that I inspire you to be creative as well. So thank you so much. And then other than that, I will be here. Thursdays are my creative nights for Facebook Live, so I will be here with you again next week with more creative projects. So have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Thank you immensely for being here, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.